All right, Scorpio, this is your January 2021 love horoscope and taroscope. I'm Ryan with Arrows of Love. Welcome back to my channel. We're going to talk about what's happening in the sky, and then we're going to consult the tarot and the angels oracle on the love department. So we always start with the sun. That's where your focus is at for the month. The sun is in Capricorn. This is your third house. Capricorn is 3 signs past Scorpio. And the third house is all about communication. And it's about learning, short distance travel, and also siblings. So Saturn and Jupiter were camped out in Capricorn. Jupiter was there for all of 2020. And Saturn was there for 3 years since December of 2017. So it's completely making over your communication department, your learning department, and anything dealing with siblings over the last several years. They have now moved out. They're now in Aquarius in your 4th house, which we will talk about. But the sun is traveling through Capricorn until January 19th, and it's basically doing a review of everything that came up in 2020 to see if you've learned those lessons before any of the gifts that Jupiter usually brings and Saturn brings when they leave these houses, making sure that you've done the work necessary, Scorpio. The sun is going to move out of Capricorn on, excuse me. The sun is going to move out of Capricorn on January 19th. It's going to move into Aquarius, which is your 4th house of family, the home, foundations, and the mother. So this is going to be a central theme for you for at least until 2023. Saturn's going to be in this 4th house, making it over, checking the foundation, setting long-term plans. Saturn's also karma. It's going to be doing a deep dive of this particular house till 2023, so about 2 years. Jupiter is going to be here for about a year. It's going to move into Pisces in May of 2021, but Jupiter is going to be here too. So it's going to feel like a push and a pull on this 4th house matters. Again, it's going to be reviewing family, foundations, the mother, and the home. January 2021 is really about Mars, and Mars is your ancient ruler, Scorpio. Pluto is your modern ruler in astrology. Mars is finally going to leave Aries after an extended stay. Mars rules Aries. Mars was in Aries for almost 6 months, and that was due to its retrograde back in September, October, and November. During that time, Mars was traveling through your 6th house, which is health, routine, service, and work. So if those themes ring true for you, and if you've had any struggle, especially over that September, October, November timeframe, the reason for that is because Mars was retrograding and doing a big review of that particular department in your life. Mars is finally going to leave Aries on January 8th, and it's going to transit into Taurus, which is your 7th house of marriage, one-on-one partnerships, and legal contracts. Mars in Taurus tends to slow down. It's not so fiery. Mars tends to be very assertive. It can be aggressive. It's pioneering. It's your drive. It's your ambition. But in Taurus is an earth sign. It tends to slow down. It tends to take its time. So Mars can feel a little uncomfortable here because it wants to move forward, get things done. But Taurus is a steady, sure-footed sign that doesn't move very fast. In fact, it can be quite stubborn. So there can be a little bit of tension created while Mars is transiting through Taurus. January 8th, messenger planet Mercury. These are things that are on your mind. These are your ideas. This is how you communicate. Is going to be in the 4th house of Aquarius. Again, the 4th house is about family, home, foundations, and the mother. It is going to be making a challenging square that's a 90-degree angle over to Mars, sitting in that 7th house the day that it transits out of Aries. The 7th house is about partnerships, marriage, legal contracts. On top of that, the moon is going to be traveling through your sign, so that's your 1st house, and that creates an opposition over to Mars. So this could be a very triggering day for you in particular, Scorpio. There could be some communication coming from the family front. It could be about partnerships, and then it's going to be an emotional time for you, at least, whatever happens that day. The good news, however, even if there's some aggressive communication happening or some irritating communication, love planet Venus is now going to transit through Capricorn, and that's your third house of communication and learning. So there is grounding energy here that can be found as it's going to make a trining aspect. This is a beneficial aspect over to Mars in that seventh house. So you can tap into the stabilizing energy of Capricorn, being pragmatic, taking your time, not overreacting through communication by Venus. But January 8th is going to be an intense day with messenger planet Mercury making that square over to Mars, because it can be an irritating, aggressive day. January 13th rolls around. Now Mars, transiting through your seventh house of partnership and marriage, is going to make a challenging square over to Saturn, sitting in that fourth house of family, foundation, the mother, and the home. This is going to be a challenging day, and we've actually seen this aspect before when Mars was sitting in Aries and Saturn was sitting in Capricorn. So think back to August 24th, September 29th time frame and what was happening, because it's going to seem like kind of a replay of that, but maybe a little bit of a different flavor. And here again, we're dealing with partnerships and foundations. So you might be reviewing the foundation of your partnerships, your marriage. There could be stuff come up with the family during this time. On top of that, on January 13th, we have a new moon. And we have a new moon when the moon aligns with the sun. This is the new lunar cycle. It is a time of planting seeds for what it is you want until the next full moon. This moon is going to be intense, however. It's sitting in Capricorn, and it's going to be very close to Pluto, which is your modern ruling planet. It's been sitting in that third house of communication and learning for the last several years, since 2008, deconstructing that area. Pluto rules the underworld. It's things unseen. It's secrets. So when the sun, which is symbolic of the light, shines a light on Pluto, that's when secrets are typically revealed. Things come about this day that were hidden before, and this could come about through that partnership sector or even the family or some combination of the two. On top of that, Neptune is sitting right in between Mars and Saturn. So Mars and Saturn making the squaring aspect that is a 90-degree angle. Neptune is sitting in Pisces right now, and it's making a semi-square over to Mars and Saturn. So this is still irritating. This is an irritating type of energy. Neptune is sitting in Pisces in your fifth house of romance, fun and games, investments, children. So any of those themes coming up during that time, Neptune is very much a part of this. And Neptune creates a nebulous, cloudy, hazy, confusing aspect. And it also rules health. So we might see some things come out about the coronavirus during this day. We might even see spikes, which correlate with holiday travel and New Year's. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some spikes in COVID cases during that time. But the 13th is definitely very triggering. Mars wants to get up and go, but it's being blocked. It's getting the yellow light or even the red light from that foundation, home, family sector with Saturn sitting there. And Mars wants to move forward in relationships, but just not quite yet. And then you have this pretty intense new moon with Pluto sitting there. So you might be triggered during this time. Perhaps it's even you divulging secrets. It could be partners, but it's definitely coming through on that communication front, Scorpio. The good news again, though, on the 13th is that Venus, sitting in your third house of communication, is going to be making a trining aspect over to Uranus. These are blessings from the universe. Uranus has been sitting in your seventh house of partnerships, marriage, and legal contracts for about the last year or so. Changing that up. Uranus is the great liberator. Uranus brings change through shock and awe. It wants independence. So during this time, you're going to be going through a lot of changes on that relationship front. But there's going to be a trining aspect between Venus and Uranus, and that creates a grounding energy for the change. Moving forward to January 17th, Jupiter, traveling through that fourth house of family, home, foundations, and the mother, is now going to be making a squaring aspect, a challenging aspect over to Uranus, sitting in that seventh house of partnerships. This is a benefic energy. Jupiter is the great benefic. It brings gifts. It expands any type of energy that it happens to be near. So we might see some very creative things come through during this time. This is also a period of psychic downloads. So if you're getting any psychic downloads, be sure you're writing them out. This is a great time to get an astrology reading. Jupiter and Uranus have to do with the ethereal and things unseen. We could also see some new music and innovation coming about during this time as well. So if you're really amped up during that January 13th time frame, or even getting close to January 17th, turn on some music and take the energy down. January 20th. This is probably the biggest day of the month. Mars, traveling through that 7th house, is now going to conjoin Uranus, and it's going to be very close to the moon. The moon is about emotion and the public tone. This is all in your 7th house. This can be a very explosive day. So things might be coming about that really shake things up on that relationship front. Uranus is about rebellion. It's shock and awe. And you combine that with the moon, which is emotion, and Uranus wants independence, and Mars is assertive. You can see how this could be a very triggering day. And it also happens to be inauguration day. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some protests about the new administration during this time. Scorpio, you're going to need to get plenty of exercise during this month. Make sure you are releasing excessive energy, especially around the 20th. Make sure you are releasing excessive mental energy with some yoga. Try and get some fresh air. Be outside if you can. The 20th is a very triggering day on that relationship front. Very well could be some revelations coming about and perhaps even some endings. But it's also aggressive energy. Can even be a little bit violent at times. So be sure you're releasing excessive energy in productive ways. January 23rd, Mars is continuing to move through Taurus, and now it's going to make a square over to Jupiter. Again, this is another challenging aspect. Mars in the 7th, partnerships, marriage. Jupiter in the 4th, home and family and foundations. Mars and Jupiter can create premature action. So you really want to think before you leap into anything premature here, because it can have some pretty unfortunate consequences if you're being impulsive. The good news again, though, is the Sun, sitting in that 4th house, is going to conjoin with Saturn. And in that case, this can bring up it's encouraging us to be disciplined. Saturn is all about discipline. It's about perseverance. It's about responsibility. So if you can take the high road here, you can deal with that Mars square Jupiter type energy, that impulsive energy, just fine. We might also find relief from Venus sitting in that 3rd house of communication. It's going to be making a sextile. This is an opportunity. You got to go out and find it. To Neptune sitting in your 5th house. That's children, fun and games, romance, and investment. So there could be some romantic ties happening during this day, but just know there's a lot of impulsiveness in the air on that 23rd. January 26th, now the Sun progressing through Aquarius in your 4th house of home, family, and the mother is going to be making a square, challenging aspect over to Uranus in the 7th house of partnerships. So this, again, points to restlessness, wanting independence, thinking outside of the box. It can be potentially a shock and awe day again as well. It's pointing toward a need for independence. Something needs to give on the partnership and home and family front here. January 28th, Venus still moving through Capricorn in your 3rd house of communication, siblings, learning, is now going to conjoin with Pluto, your modern ruler, Scorpio, in that 3rd house. So this here tells me that there's something going on. You might be revealing things during this time, or things might come about in partnerships that's very revealing. Pluto is about secrets. It's things unseen. It's about power dynamics. It's also about magnetism, and Venus is the goddess of love and harmony. So, there could be some great passionate communication happening during this time, but it could also be about endings and revelations as well on January 28th. that wasn't enough. January 30th rolls around. Now Mercury is going to station in its retrograde in your 4th house of home, family, the mother, and foundations. You're going to be doing a lot of work on this 4th house over the next couple of years, and this is the start of it, Scorpio. Mercury is going to retrograde January 30th through February 21st. It's about a 3-week time. This is a time of review. It's time to slow down. It's time for adjustments, and you're going to start getting glimmer of what this is all going to be about around that January 15th time frame, because that's when Mercury is going to start traveling through the degrees by which it will retrograde. It's called the shadow phase. So you're going to start understanding what it is the Mercury retrograde is going to be all about come January 15th, moving forward about those 2 weeks until it stations retrograde, on January 30th. So it's a lot going on. Scorpio, you have a lot going on in that partnership front. Uranus is going to shake things up quite a bit over the next few years. And with Mars crossing over there on January 20th, it's going to be a very explosive day. So be sure you're getting plenty of exercise, you're getting outside, ground yourself in some meditation. But like I said, there's some good stuff happening too. So January 8th, Venus will trine Mars. So that's a great day for romance if you're looking for it. January 13th, Venus will trine Uranus. And then Venus is going to make that sextile over to Neptune on the 23rd. So there's some good stuff happening, but a lot of tension, a lot of challenges to overcome during all of January. All right, Scorpio. So I was shuffling before I got on here. We're going to pull some romance cards. We're going to see what's happening in the love department, and then we're going to clarify with the tarot. See what's happening for you, Scorpio. These messages will not resonate with all of you. This is a general reading. If you're looking for a personal reading, my email is in the description box below. We can set up some time to discuss. Take the messages that resonate with you, leave the rest. And you're going to want to check out your ascendant sign, your moon, and your Venus. Sometimes those signs will resonate more with you depending on what's happening in your natal chart. All right, we're going to give this one last shuffle. This is for Scorpio. Let's see what's happening with you, Scorpio. All right. Codependency. Addictions are affecting your romantic life. Taurus got this as well. Taurus is your 7th house. So you might have a Taurus in your life. We'll check, but they got this card as well. Past life relationship. You have known each other before. So this coincides with Venus aligning with Pluto on the 28th. It could also coincide with Uranus in your 7th house, but past life relationships have to deal with Pluto. So watch out what's happening on that 28th. Past life relationships, we'll talk more about this, but they're extremely passionate. It can feel very comfortable, like you've known each other before. And Venus just crossed that south node not too long ago, about a week ago. I'm doing this video on January 4th, and the south node has to do with the past. So, these are karmic relationships. They can be very passionate, but they tend to be short-lived too, and they're here to teach you a lesson. So let's check and see what's going on. All right. This is for Scorpio. Strength, codependency, 8 of Wands, Six of Wands, the Hierophant, Ace of Swords, and the Four of Cups. Okay, Scorpio. So the first card out here is codependency. Addictions are affecting your romantic life. So this could be you. This could also be a partner or a romantic interest, right? January 13th, I talked about that new moon with with Pluto. That is your modern ruler. That's things unseen. That could be addiction. So you might be getting some communication from a partner, or even a family member, someone that's like family, around that time frame that deals with codependency. And it's going to require you to have some strength here, or perhaps it's even you need to have that strength to overcome any type of codependent relationships or any type of substance abuse issues. Whenever I see the codependency issue, I always say, if you're having any type of substance abuse issues or a partner, go get professional help. That is imperative, but it's going to require strength. You've got to tame that lion. The next card here is the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands has to do with long distance travel. This could be someone at a distant place. The Eight of Wands also has to deal with romance and passion. So some of you might have an addiction to a bedroom buddy that's not very healthy for you, or it could be a sex addiction. Scorpio, you're a passionate sign. I'm not trying to be cliche here, but this is a part of your own death and rebirth process in your life, and self-identity. Being a Scorpio means something has to die in order to be reborn, so you can rise like the phoenix. And part of that is dealing with unseen things, and usually it has to deal with intimacy. So there could be some issues on that front. But I think whatever it is, if it's not you and it's a partner, things might come up. You're going to talk about it. And it looks to me like there is some type of victory here. You're going to deal with this appropriately. The Six of Wands is a victory card. And it appears like you're going to deal with this appropriately, but it has to be addressed. And you have a lot going on in that communication sector, right? So anything dealing with self-identity, intimacy, coming about, anything with that, Saturn and Jupiter were sitting in that third house for several years, making over the way you communicate with people and learning. So now is the time to reap the benefits of the seeds you sowed during the last few years, especially going back to December of 2017. Think about those last 3 years. Could be a victory on its way. The codependency, however, might be with this past life relationship. Past life relationships are difficult. They are comfortable. They make you feel good. They're very passionate. And it's because you've known these people through the ages. But they're here to teach you a lesson. There's karma attached to these type of relationships. And with Saturn crossing over, Venus crossing over Pluto, that brings back past life relationships. So either you might be in one and you are addicted to it, or the flip side to this, someone's coming in and it's a past life relationship and you have to clear the karma, whatever that might be. And the Hierophant here points to just that. This is a spiritual religious card. It's also about institutions. It could represent a Taurus or an Aries. Taurus is your seventh house here. So you very well might be dealing with that. If it's a codependency issue, institutions also represent getting professional help. So keep that in mind if there's any type of substance abuse here. But if you're addicted to a relationship, which very well might be the case, this is asking you to go within, use your intuition. Is this really serving your highest good? Is it progressing you in your spiritual realm? You're going to start thinking differently about it, whatever comes about around that January 13th and especially on January 20th. Something is going to change your mind because this is the new cycle. The aces always represent something new, and it's you changing your thought pattern about this past life relationship, or if you happen to be addicted to a relationship that isn't very good for you. Something's definitely changing on this front, and this is the new start. You're probably very weary about what to do next. Even if you do the new start, you might still have some type of connection to this person. Look at the man. Don't get hung up on genders here. Look at the man sitting underneath the tree. 3 cups still remain here, right? There's still emotional attachment. Cups represent emotion, and there's an offer coming about. Something's coming out of the blue here. This is shock and awe. We talked about Uranus. So something might come about that really stirs you up. It could be about this past life relationship, or maybe it's someone else is coming in and you're not really sure what to do. This is a contemplative type energy. Even if it's the new start, you might be confused about what to do next, and you might be ruminating a little bit. And to be quite frank, if you're going to be reviewing foundations with Mercury, that's all about a review period. That's 3 weeks of review. So this is really what that's about. I think this is what it's pointing to. Take your time, Scorpio. Use your intuition. You're a very intuitive sign. You're a water sign. You go very deep. You feel things very intensely. Very intense. But with a past life relationship, there is something here that needs to be learned. And with the Hierophant, this is the 5, so this could represent the 5th house. We talked about the 5th house. That's where Neptune is sitting. Neptune creates fogginess and confusion, not really sure what to do next. But like I said, if there's any substance abuse issues, be sure you go get help. That's institutions. But this is also asking you to use your intuition and your spirituality to think about what it is you want. I think you're going toward something new. You're changing something up mentally for sure. But you're going to be ruminating over it for a while. Perhaps they have a hard time letting go and they keep coming back. Let's pull one more card for the outcome, Scorpio. Yeah, it's the Hanged Man. This is the man in suspense. Not sure what to do. This is also a spiritual card, right? This is reminiscent of Jesus of Nazareth on the cross. So don't self-sabotage. We know how you can do that sometimes, Scorpio, because you can be very intense. So don't self-sabotage here. You don't need to be self-sacrificing. If there's something that's just not working anymore, it's urging you to really let this go. Start the new cycle with that ace. There is a victory here to be had. When you start that new cycle, look at the wreath on top of the sword. When you start the new thought pattern and you think about things a little bit differently, great things start to come. But this is you not really sure what to do next. Cancer had a very similar reading. You might want to take a look at Cancer. You need to take your time. You need to use your intuition about what to do with this relationship. If there's codependency happening here, that's not healthy. Scorpio, you deserve love. You deserve the highest form of love because you are very attractive in and of yourself. That is what Scorpio is all about. You have that magnetism to you because you're ruled by Pluto. But don't let other people run you over. Don't let there be power dynamics. There's a lot of power dynamics in the air right now. And this could be something, that's self-sabotaging. There could be like an element of self-sacrifice here. But you don't have to do that. You deserve the highest form of love. So use your intuition, go deep, consult your guides. It's time to be a little bit more spiritual and realizing that there's a higher calling for you. All right, Scorpio, I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you like these videos, please like this video and subscribe. It helps the channel. We will be back next month in February. Until then, I wish you the best of luck, Scorpio, and have a great month.